Welcome to this explainer, everybody. Today we're bringing you a really special edition as part of the Mike is Outside Research Review series. I am so pumped to share this with you because we are going to completely rethink the everyday urban spaces we all walk past and, let's be honest, usually ignore on our daily commutes. We're talking about taking the built environment, specifically the places we rest, and totally flipping the script so they actually work for our bodies instead of against them.
Okay, let's dive into this. What if a park bench could actually improve your metabolic health? I mean, it sounds almost like a paradox, right? We usually think of park benches and transit stops as these places of total passive rest. But the research we're unpacking today challenges that assumption head-on. We are exploring this brand new, highly innovative concept of turning passive waiting time into an active, health-boosting experience.
So here is our playbook for today. 1. The sedentary city problem. 2. Enter the active bench. 3. Takeaway 1. Design for movement. 4. Takeaway 2. Digital nudges matter. 5. Takeaway 3. Policy and equity. And finally, 6. The active urban future.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the sedentary city problem.
You know, modern cities are absolutely fantastic, but they've basically engineered movement right out of our daily lives. And the research highlights just how insidious this invisible public health challenge really is. Extended sitting drastically slows down our metabolism, leading to reduced calorie expenditure and much higher risks for obesity. But traditional public seating, it actually makes the problem worse. It's designed purely for static comfort, essentially turning us into statues. When we slump into these conventional seats, we're constantly stressing our lumbar region and restricting blood flow to our legs, which increases the risk of venous stasis, pooled blood. Essentially, our everyday urban furniture is quietly perpetuating a massive health crisis.
Which brings us to Section 2, enter the active bench.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we are looking at a tangible, physical solution to this urban health crisis. Enter active design. This is the MyActiveBench. It's modular, vibrant, and built specifically for dynamic interaction. You have to totally forget your standard park bench with the flat seat and the reclined back. This unique, minimalist, angled structure is engineered to encourage continuous muscle engagement from whoever happens to be using it. This design creates what the research calls standing sitting or active seating. Think of this as taking that massive cultural shift of the standing desk and bringing it right out of the office and into our public parks. Biomechanically, it positions you at a slight incline rather than a fully seated posture, naturally promoting spinal alignment. It requires you to adopt a sort of partial or semi-squat position. Because of this, you're actively engaging your quads, your hamstrings, and your glutes just by resting against it. Plus, it naturally supports your core and takes all that pressure off your vulnerable lumbar region. Section 3, and our first big takeaway: design for movement. For recreation and community professionals, the goal here is specifying furniture that actively prompts physical engagement. And here is the exact data point that proves why this matters: 0.7. Research indicates that users of this active seating burn approximately 0.7 additional kilocalories per minute compared to traditional sitting. Now, I know that sounds like a tiny fraction, almost like nothing, right? But think about waiting 10 minutes for a bus every single morning and evening. Those micro-movements and that constant muscle activation genuinely add up over time. They contribute significantly to your daily energy expenditure and overall metabolic health, literally without requiring a trip to the gym.
Moving on to Section 4, our second takeaway: digital nudges matter.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next point, because physical infrastructure, well, that's really only half the battle. We have to bridge that physical hardware with smart digital interaction. A user can interact with this bench in a bunch of different ways: stretching their back, lifting a knee, engaging their core. To help with this, the bench actually includes a stainless steel plate right on the structure, equipped with a QR code. When you scan it, it acts exactly like a free digital personal trainer built seamlessly right into the park, showing you exactly how to perform these safe, light exercises. Let's walk through this tech-to-physical workflow. It is incredibly simple. Step 1. Scan the bench QR code. Step 2. Access the video library. And Step 3. Perform a guided micro-workout right there in the plaza. These digital nudges are absolutely vital. They don't just provide safe exercise options, they actually give people the permission to move. They help normalize these short bouts of activity in public spaces, turning a mundane wait for a friend into a moment of intentional wellness. Section 5, our final and arguably most crucial takeaway: policy and equity. So, the crucial point is this:
Great design is wonderful, but how do policymakers actually fund and implement it at scale? Isolated design innovations only become systemic drivers of population health when municipalities actually pull specific, actionable levers. First, codifying minimum quotas for movement-supportive furniture right into zoning ordinances and park design standards. Second, utilizing intersectoral financing, which is essentially sharing the bill across public health, transport, and urban development departments to offset capital costs. And third, priority deployment in underserved areas to actively combat health inequity.
Let's move to Section 6 and see how this builds the active urban future.
To make active seating a success on a global scale, we need a much broader cultural shift. The research makes it crystal clear. The biggest barrier isn't logistical, it is entirely social. We're conditioned to view a bench purely as a place for complete, passive rest. The idea of engaging your muscles while seated isn't something we expect or are used to. Shifting this expectation from passive rest to gentle activation requires real education. It means we need community ambassadors, point-of-decision prompts, and inclusive community co-design with aging and disability advocates to fundamentally change what we expect from our public spaces.
So, I want to leave you all with this high-energy challenge. How can you rethink the passive spaces in your own community projects, your urban planning workflows, or local zoning policies to spark active living? Whether you're a city planner, a designer, or just a passionate community member, you now have the tools and the research to look at public spaces through an entirely new active lens. It is time we make our cities work for our health. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I literally cannot wait to see how you put these insights into action.